For months now, a lazy narrative has followed Arsenal around the Premier League, that Mikel Arteta's side are boring, overly cautious, and guilty of draining the life out of big matches. It is a criticism repeated loudly on social media and whispered in studio debates. Yet scratch beneath the surface, and the reality tells a very different story. Arsenal are not boring. They are frightening. And it is precisely that fear which has reshaped how their rivals dare to play against them. When teams stop attacking, matches stop flowing. That is not Arsenal's fault. Former Gunners midfielder Adrian Clark put it bluntly after Arsenal's Carabao Cup semi-final victory over Chelsea at the Emirates. According to Clark, the dullness critics complain about is created not by Arteta's football, but by opponents who arrive already beaten in their own minds. Arsenal's growing dominance has forced even elite managers to abandon the usual principles and retreat into survival mode. Fear is the ultimate compliment. Modern Arsenal are a side opponents plan not to lose against, rather than to beat. That shift alone speaks volumes about how far Arteta has taken this team. When Manchester City visited North London earlier this season, Pep Guardiola oversaw what many described as the deepest defensive block of his managerial career. City scored, then retreated. The champions did not press, did not dominate possession, and certainly did not entertain. Liverpool followed a similar path. Arne Slot's side arrived without a recognized striker, prioritizing compactness and control over ambition. Chelsea, trailing on aggregate in a cup semi-final, still set up in a conservative 5-4-1 system, desperately trying to keep the scoreline tight rather than chasing the goals they needed. These are not the tactics of confident challengers. They are the tactics of teams who know Arsenal can punish them. As Clark argued, this collective shift is a nod to Arsenal. Clubs that once went toe-to-toe with the Gunners now fear the consequences of doing so. The result is a series of cagey encounters that frustrate fans and fuel unfair criticism, but crucially, Arsenal keep collecting points. Europe tells the real story. If Arsenal were truly boring, the evidence would be everywhere. Instead, it disappears the moment the opposition changes mindset. In the Champions League this season, Arsenal have delivered some of their most exhilarating performances in years. Against Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, and Inter Milan, Arteta's side faced opponents who backed their own football and dared to attack. The results were open games, flowing moves, high-quality goals, and genuine drama. The contrast could not be clearer. European opponents worry about imposing themselves. Domestic rivals worry about surviving. That difference exposes the flaw in the boring Arsenal argument. Entertainment is a two-way contract. When one team refuses to engage, spectacle suffers. Arsenal cannot be blamed for opponents choosing fear over flair. Tactical maturity, not stagnation. Arteta's Arsenal are tactically mature in a way critics often misunderstand. This is not a side obsessed with sterile possession or risk-free passing. It is a team capable of adapting its approach mid-game, switching between patience and penetration when required. Against Chelsea, Arsenal initially struggled to exploit a high defensive line. But once they began mixing direct passes with the usual build-up play, space appeared. Gabriel Martinelli's runs stretched the defense. Chelsea were forced deeper. The rhythm changed. Eventually, Arsenal found the decisive moment, with Kai Havertz's late goal sealing the tie. This is not passive football. It is intelligent football. Arteta has built a team that understands when to slow a game down and when to accelerate it. That control is often mistaken for caution by those who equate chaos with excitement. Results over reputation. The truth is simple, Arsenal are winning. They sit clear at the top of the Premier League, are into the Carabao Cup final, remain alive in the FA Cup, and have dominated the Champions League phase. No other English club can match that consistency across competitions this season. Boring teams do not achieve that level of sustained success. Predictable teams do not terrify elite managers into abandoning their identity. Arsenal's control, structure, and relentless pressure have made them the most uncomfortable opponent in England. Critics may complain, but rival coaches are sending a far louder message through their team selections and tactical compromises. Respect disguised as criticism. Calling Arsenal boring has become an easy talking point. It fills airtime. It sparks online arguments. But it misses the bigger picture. What we are witnessing is not dull football, it is dominance maturing into authority. Arsenal are no longer the side opponents look forward to playing. They are the side opponents fear making a mistake against. And fear, in football, breeds negativity. As Clark rightly pointed out, those who brand Arsenal as boring may simply be revealing their own lack of imagination. Because when Arsenal face teams brave enough to play football, the spectacle returns instantly. Until then, the Gunners will continue doing what elite teams do best, winning, evolving, and forcing everyone else to adapt to them. And if that makes rivals uncomfortable, Arsenal will take it as the highest compliment of all.